Stan Gibilisco here, proprietor and operator of Amateur Radio Station W1GV, Whiskey 1, Good Vibrations, with some real good vibrations for you if you'll listen between the words. As you may or may not know, it doesn't really matter. When you become disabled or near disabled for any particular reason, doesn't really matter what that reason is, your life perspective changes. Now, I have a viewer who I've decided I've kind of taken a liking to because he feels like Rip Van Winkle after all these years of technology, and he asked me a whole series of questions in a very dedicated email that I kind of feel cheating him if I don't respond in what ways I can and provide meaningful content as comes straight from the mind. And here's something straight from the mind and from the heart from a 61-year-old man who, by the way, has been a ham for 49 years. And I did spend quite a while off of the air, not because of family issues, because I've never had a family, other than my own mom and dad, who are still alive, bless their souls, aged 91, Rochester, Minnesota, USA. But when you become near disabled, when you lose the energy, in particular in my case, to do much of anything but what really matters, then you do what really matters and forget about things that don't really matter. And as your energy continues to dwindle, you realize that 99% of your life is bullshit. And one of the things I've found that is bullshit is having wars with people, having wars with things, having wars in general within yourself, because that's where they really are, is within yourself. I have some issues with the Arduino in particular. I just don't like the doggone thing. Now, a lot of people do, but I don't. I've played around with that technology out of curiosity, and I'm just not terribly impressed. What I want to do is what I did in a playlist on my YouTube channel here. I believe it's called Winter Wanderings, where last winter I took my big old truck, which I can no longer afford, and drove for a whole month out in the middle of the winter into Wyoming. I like to go into the worst places at the worst times, because that way you meet the best people. And what happened was that I happened to encounter a period of unusually good HF propagation conditions and enjoyed simply contacting exotic places on CW with a little radio that, yes, does have a computer, and yes, it does have a lot of programming features. Those programming features, you have to look them up just in order to figure out how to turn the thing on, practically. But the flip side of that is that it makes a radio capable of doing so many more things than the old ones could. And if you're willing to learn how to use them rather than fight the notion that they exist and that technology is somehow engaged in a battle with you or vice versa, then you'll be a lot better off, a lot happier. And I think that with this radio, this little Yaesu FT857 Delta, which is really a sideband radio, but it's never seen its microphone, you'll see, if you look at those videos, contacting exotic places over the pole on 21 megahertz at midnight is not something that happens all the time, but I got a chance to do it from out in the boondocks of Wyoming at a place called the Stargazer Ranch. Look that up. And I think there's some pictures of that on there too, on that playlist. But the point of the matter is, if you find something you really enjoy doing in ham radio, by all means do it. But you don't have to struggle against technology in order to gain from it or learn about it. Just do it when you feel like it. Don't do it when you don't feel like it. And keep ham radio in perspective in regards to the priority that it holds in your life. Right now I have a major book project that I'm working on. Probably the best-selling book that I will ever have done, with a co-author, and that takes up a lot of time and mental energy, which, as I have said before, has become more and more and more limited. So I have to do less and less and less of the superfluous things like clean the house. I'll just end up living like a filthy bum who makes CW contacts over the pole at midnight in the middle of the winter from Wyoming. But if that's what floats my boat, even in the middle of a dry Wyoming ranch, so be it. But don't battle with technology just because it's new or just because... but I do agree with you, though, on the score of operators getting more and more rude. But I don't think it's necessarily that they're more and more rude. I just think it's that there are more and more of them, because we no longer have a Morse code requirement to be an amateur radio operator. Well, I've yammered for 7 minutes and 27 seconds and counting. If you've managed to stand to listen to me for this long, my hat is off to you. Oh, wait a minute. I don't even have a hat. Well then, it's still off. Stan Gibalisco, W1GV. Da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Saying 73, which means ham radio, best regards. And so long, which means da-da-da-da-da-da.